Hey everybody, welcome to Our Favorite Frontier, the only Star Trek podcast on the internet that's hosted by me and Nick. Hey Nick.
Yes. Yes, it's hosted by us.
It's hosted by us, which of course is the main reason why anyone would watch any Star
Of
Trek
course.
podcast.
Or listen to.
Yes, that's true. We don't really have video. Well, I say really as if there's some... We don't have any video. There's no video. I made it sound like there was gray area. So, as always, we are working through Star Trek The Next Generation, and this episode is called Lonely Among Us.
Captain's log, stardate 41249.3. We have orbited the two major planets of the Beta Renner system, taking aboard delegates from those two worlds. Since achieving spaceflight, their major life forms, the Anticons and the Cele, have become deadly enemies, but both have also applied for admission into our Federation. We are to deliver these delegates to this sector's neutral conference planet, called Parliament, in the hope their dispute can be resolved.
Nick, what did you think of Lonely Among Us?
That's it.
Just,
Well, they just straight up go with another personality change episode, like, not even 4 episodes after the last one.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, just... It added a good... It kind of reminded me a little bit more of The Enemy Within, more than A Naked Time.
Okay.
Because kind of Picard was going... He was going a little mental.
Sure.
And he was kind of showing his darker side. So it kind of gave me lots of feeling of that, but still obviously not as good as that classic episode of Star Trek, the original series.
Yes. So let's break this down. This episode starts with this weird subplot that doesn't really go anywhere about lizard aliens and furry ferret aliens that don't get along. And Star Trek is... The Enterprise is just literally taking them to a conference. Is just taking them there. Then they pick up a little electricity being that possesses people. Yada, yada, yada. We find out that the electricity being was accidentally scooped up by the Enterprise when they flew past the space cloud. And so the electricity guy just wants to go home. They take him home, and that's the episode. So let's first address the furry ferret aliens and the lizard aliens. They're stupid and dumb and nothing.
Yeah, it's just a pointless race war they decided to put in there to show some sort of conflict within the episode, but never really brought to much resolve.
It's never brought to any resolve, actually. I think they literally wrote the script and were like, oh crap, we need some extra. We're about 10 minutes shy here. Let's just put in this weird subplot about how these aliens hate each other. So it seems like the Enterprise actually has somewhere to be. Like they're trying to put like a ticking clock on this thing. Like the Enterprise has to be at this destination by this time. And the lightning monster is going to interfere with everything. But who cares? Like
it's very bad.
The ticking clock does not work. We don't care about the clock, so there's no sense of urgency in the episode. We just get some weird goofy looking costumes. That's what they blew their budget on the costumes. Fun fact, one of the aliens is played by the same actor who plays Gul Dukat in Star Trek Deep Space Nine, which you don't care about, but listeners might. So Gul Dukat's actor, Mark, makes his first appearance here. But yeah, those furry ferret aliens look comical.
Well, my question is, did George Lucas write this episode?
Right.
Because the dialogue is dry. It's about
Right.
peace negotiations in Parliament. It's basically the prequels, but in Star Trek. And it's just... That's all I thought about the entire time. Just no one talked about sand, and I was very upset about that.
So, I'm not sure if I want to say this now or if I want to say this later. So I'll say it now because I've already brought it up. Which is the very, very end of this episode. Because it is sort of a wrap-up to the furry ferret and lizard aliens. Which is that the two aliens are fighting and they hate each other. And Riker, when Picard is finally restored back to normal, Riker says, "We found a pool of blood." And the furry ferret aliens told the cooks to prepare lizard. And Picard's like, I guess I do need a rest after all. So I just want to make it clear to everyone. The ending joke to this episode is that Picard doesn't want to deal with a murder that happened on his ship.
He's the worst captain of all time. Picard is not a captain. Riker is the captain, and I'm still sticking by that.
Riker's like, hey, someone was just killed on board. He's like, well, looks like you're gonna handle this. I need to take a load off here. Like, and it's a joke.
He's like the bad boss. He's like the manager that you hate because they don't do any work, and you're stuck doing all the work.
Yeah,
and he's getting all the reward. And I'm sure Federation is like, man, like Enterprise is doing such a good job that Picard is really doing, and Picard's probably taking like credit for everything. Like I've been in that situation, working my butt off and having someone take the credit for it. So like I completely probably
you can identify it immediately.
Yeah, like Riker is me, just doing everything right possibly, and then every boss I've ever had.
Yep.
Pretty much.
So that stuck out to me when like they said that, and then it plays like this comical little do 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 music, and I was like, that's how it ends.
The problem is that one of the cooks has just been asked to broil reptile for the Antikins, and it looks like the Sele delegate.
Riker, what with the peace delegates and all, I think I do need a rest. Take charge, number one.
The episode ended super awkwardly to the point where when the episode ended, I didn't believe it was over. And then the credits started going. I'm like, wait, there's like, what?
Yeah.
I was so caught off. But could I bring up something? Because I want to bring up something.
Absolutely.
I want you to guess right now on the common theme of things that I want to bring up from the past few episodes. What do you think I'm going to bring up right now?
Data being Sherlock Holmes.
Oh my freaking God. Oh my goodness. Data doesn't know what a private eye is, but then not even moments later he is impersonating Sherlock Holmes. If he is
I assume in that 2 minutes he in between, because there was a scene break, I assume he just downloaded all the Sherlock Holmes data he could.
I thought that he downloads the stuff, he doesn't have it all in his head?
No, he doesn't have
No,
it in
what's
his
the
head.
point of him if he can't just tell you if he's just not an encyclopedia of knowledge like that?
Well, because he's a computing machine. He can still compute. But like you have a laptop, but that means you still have to go on the internet to download information.
Have to Google things I don't know?
Yeah.
That's weird. I usually just ask people questions.
And I call you out on it all the time. But fun fact about Data and Sherlock Holmes, this is actually the beginning of sort of a common thread in this show, is that Data does have a little bit of a love for Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I was hoping you were going to say Data is pretty much the wishbone of Star Trek Next Generation.
That would be amazing.
Like he just does different characters all the time. I'd be down for that.
Nope, he does have a fondness for Sherlock Holmes, and we will see Data as Sherlock again in about a season. He'll pop up again at the beginning of season 2. But yeah, I know the minute I started seeing this and him pretending to smoke that big old pipe, I was like, oh boy, we're in for a wild ride this episode.
Oh my God. Data just seems to, ever since they had the conversation with him about humor, he's been very funny without even trying. From talking about his hard drive to the Sherlock Holmes thing. You know, for a man who doesn't understand humor, he really grabs it really quickly.
Yeah.
He's fully functional and ready to go.
Yep. So speaking of funny things, this is the first and last appearance of Mr. Singh because he dies. That's not the funny thing. But
Wait, what?
That's not the funny thing. There's more funny things coming.
Wait, who the hell is Mr. Singh?
Mr. Singh was the engineer who gets possessed by lightning when Wesley's like, "Here's how you fix the engine." And Mr. Singh's like, "Hey, go away, kid. You suck."
Oh, the Asian guy.
Not the Asian, Indian. Well, I guess India is in Asia.
Wait. Isn't there an Asian dude in the engine room?
Okay. So here's another thing about the first season is that there's a revolving door of extras. So the first in the episode where the Naked Now, it was an Asian man. You're correct. Now it's an Indian man. and he gets possessed by the lightning, and then he dies, and Worf finds him dead in the engine. Fun fact about him, I was just skimming through the production notes on Wikipedia, and apparently they had him, he was there for filming, whatever, and then they needed to do reshoots, and he wasn't available for reshoots that day. So they literally, and this is direct from Wikipedia, Kavi Raz played assistant engineer Singh, although as he was unavailable for a reshoot, in one scene he was replaced by a wig on a chair. You shouldn't have blown all that money on the furry ferret aliens, Gene. This is what happens. You don't have money to get an actor.
So Gene's heavily involved in the first season.
Yeah.
But he's not involved later. Like, does he? I forget what he told me. He gets sick or he dies or what?
He gets sick and then he dies maybe around 5th season. But he takes a step back season 2. Season 3, he takes an even bigger step back to the point where he's not really even involved season 3 because he's so sick. And I think he dies maybe season 5-ish, maybe 4. I don't remember off the top of my head. But this episode, speaking of Gene Roddenberry, does have that Gene Roddenberry touch of I'm going to make you rethink something that you take for granted. And in this case, he wants you to rethink life needing to be in a corporeal being. He says, you know what? Life doesn't need to be in a physical body. What if life is just in energy? And there can be a sentient being who's energy rather than matter. And that was sort of the crux of this whole episode, I think. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm sure that was a jumping off point for Gene, was he wanted to, I want to make you rethink what a living being can be. And so that's why we have a colony of living electricity floating through space.
I don't know. The only reason I'm watching the show is just to see what Data does next and if Yar is going to show more skin. That's it. That's all that's got me going.
I know. It's a tough
It is
road.
so tough. I'm so happy you're paying me the big bucks to do this because otherwise I'd have to walk. Our audience doesn't know how much money is at stake here. It's one whole nickel.
It's one whole nickel.
It's one whole nickel of episode, you know. My other job pays me pennies. This is a nickel.
Yeah. So, one last thing is we're lucky that Wesley doesn't actually do much this episode.
I mean, he's still there.
He's still there, I know, but he doesn't come in to save the day like in
So why is Will Wheaton so popular?
Will Wheaton was an actor before Star Trek. He was in Stand By Me, and he was in just lots of kids movies in the 80s. Not Stand By Me is not a kids movie. No.
There are kids in the movie.
There are kids in the movie, but it's a coming of age movie. And then he went on to be famous because he was on the show, and then he in I want to say early 2000s he did sort of what we're doing, where he went through and reviewed every episode, and everyone paid attention to him. But there is a lot of hate to Will Wheaton, and I want to go on Team Will and say, hey, Will, I don't hate you. I understand that you were just given crappy lines. I got your back, Will.
He was on Big Bang Theory, so
He is consistently.
Why is that show on again?
Big Bang Theory.
Could we do a podcast next of us watching every episode of Big Bang Theory and ripping it to shreds?
I think that would need to be a drunk cast.
I could definitely get hammered and do that. I don't think I can do it sober. We have to do that live.
That we'll live stream it. We'll Twitch IRL it. And we'll just be like, we're watching Big Bang Theory. Watch this episode with us. It fucking sucks. They think just because they can get Leonard Nimoy to go into a recording studio and to say lines that we'll think the rest of the episode is funny.
It's not funny. And the laugh track doesn't help.
Yeah.
I don't like being told when to laugh.
It's weird how quickly we turned on laugh tracks.
Because as soon as you were able to get a comedy without one, everyone realized how pointless it was. And it was making you dumber.
Did Arrested Development and The Office kill the laugh track?
Absolutely. Those shows were mainly popular.
We went to single camera setup and no longer have studio audiences, and boom, they're done.
Yeah, but they're not. But were people really having studio audiences with? I mean, it's called a laugh track.
No, they are studio audiences, because I actually had a friend who went to a taping of The Big Bang Theory, and she said, we sat and watched the whole thing, and they recorded our laughing, And
Did they tell you when to laugh? Because I feel like you have to.
I'm sure that they probably did. Like, they had a big thing that said applause, stuff like that. But the one thing that she said that was interesting was it was an episode where Leonard and Jessica Walters are driving in a car, and they said that they first just acted out the scene in like folding chairs, so they could record so the audience could laugh and they could get the timing right, and so that way they could act it out in the car, in accordance with the laughing that had already occurred when they acted out the first time. So there is real laughing going on. Whether or not it's prompted or not, I can't say, but I know that it's not like back in the 50s, like in Scooby-Doo when they would add a laugh track, and how can there be a laugh track? It's a freaking cartoon.
You know what? I believe the Scooby-Doo laugh track more than the Big Bang Theory of audience laughter.
You're free to do that.
Scooby-Doo is a great show. Well, I think that about does it. Since we got
I guess. What else is there to say
I'm
here?
sorry. Big Bang Theory and Scooby-Doo are more interesting than this season of Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Yeah, well, to say that they did a repeat on the sort of possessed, mind-controlled
Personality.
not necessarily. Yeah, I guess Naked Now they weren't mind-controlled; they were just space drunk. But not acting yourself, not right in the head kind of deal. They redid that. We got someone on the Enterprise who shouldn't be there, and then we got Picard casually casting aside on a murder. So who knows?
But honestly, so much happened in that episode. I don't blame him.
Yeah, he had a long day. He had a rough day.
Absolutely.
But speaking of rough days, that's it for this podcast. If you've enjoyed this episode, like, comment, rate, subscribe, whatever options you have to give us feedback, give us feedback. We'd much appreciate it. And we will see you next time when we discuss the episode Justice. Oh no, is this the episode that I think it is?
I don't know.
We're in for a treat next episode.
Oh
man.
Shit. I can't. Hopefully you're not being sarcastic.
Oh, this is an infamous episode.
Oh, dear.
Oh,
All
I'm
right.
so excited.
I'm going to get to it.
All right, everyone. Well, tune in next week so you hear us talk about justice. And we will see you next time. Our Favorite Frontier is hosted by Alex Russo and Nick Caladona, edited by Alex Russo, and produced by Nerdy Inc. Be sure to follow us on YouTube to catch all of our videos, as well as like us on Facebook, Twitter, and whatever other social media we have.